What's up, everyone? Dem Boys back at it. Had to drop this one quick. Kraelo and Clint did a little podcast, and it was the first deep dive we really have into Madden 21. Gridiron Notes did a good job of kind of giving a summary, but some of the stuff they didn't cover, and I just kind of wanted to give you my 2 cents and what I'm reading between the lines with some of it. So they've definitely done a lot of stuff in an effort to nuke the run game. The passing game, from what I can tell, seems like it's going to be a little similar, but what we're going to have in the run game here, guys, they're going to change the angles that guys take. So what I mean by that is you're going to have guys taking wider angles on stretches and outside zones. You used to have inside defenders come down too far and just get jammed up and stuck in traffic. They're going to take more intuitive angles out towards the edge. Edge defenders are going to be a little bit more intuitive as well. Setting the edge, they're going to set the edge a little wider. They're even going to change in some formations how wide you are. Like they sit in 3-4, they're actually going to change the alignment a little bit and bring that out to widen things up for better contain. So all that sounds good, stuff that they needed to do. So another thing they did in the run game was supposedly we're going to have better pursuit angles coming off of shed. In my mind, what stands out is like out my way, especially last year, right? They'd throw the guy out their way and then stand there, and the running back would run by him. And we still have a lot of that going on with shed stuff this year. So side note, that could really make out my way OP next year to stop the run. But they're saying the guys are going to come off the angle, the shed at an angle to attack the ball carrier as opposed to just standing there. So, good improvement. The next one is really more so just going to affect salary cap because you have the longer play clock. But as far as like audibles and flipping plays around and doing all that in the run game to get a numbers advantage on one side or the other, as we've talked about all year, you're only going to be able to do that twice. So you can do one audible, one flip, or two flips, or two audibles. After that, it's going to trigger a potential false start penalty, which does make sense. But again, will really only affect some salary cap players in some schemes. By and large, won't make a huge difference. If you give me two motions, I'll get you out of position more often than not. So they did a thing. It's a thing. So tackling improvements is another thing where, it seems like they're going to start off the year with the hit stick a little more OP. They're claiming they've fixed dive tackling, so when you're running behind someone, your momentum will carry you forward into a tackle. So you won't have to do like the low hit stick from behind thing, which is always like, oh, what, you hit stick my heel with your middle finger or something? Because I got a different middle finger for that. This is... So I'm glad that that's kind of fixed. That was really ridiculous that, it's 2020, guys. We can't figure that out, so props to them for fixing that. The hit stick being a little more OP and all that kind of worries me. But, again, the game will get tuned back. So this year it was super run heavy. They tuned it to make it more pass heavy. But what I'm reading in between the lines is this year is going to be a little more pass heavy, and they might tune it to balance in the run just a touch. That's Madden. So, passing improvements, to me it just seems like they did things. So, really what they were talking about is last ditch, but Clint said the ability to get a pass off in the sack isn't going to be based on having an ability. Every quarterback's going to be able to do it, it's just going to affect your accuracy. So, well, by how much, right? Because is this something where you say you're improving the passing game and making it easier to pass, and essentially I'm just getting bad passes picked off? Because would you rather get picked off or take a sack? Another thing they did is they're saying that we all know the windup on the long throws was pretty ridiculous. So instead of just nuking that like they probably should, it's going to be like a sliding scale. So if you're under a bunch of pressure, then the quarterback will try to get it out. Again, you're going to have some accuracy problems. So is that just going to get stuff floated in the air? Now I'm getting picked as opposed to getting sacked because I would rather get sacked. So next they wanted to try to address, they claimed, the blitz 7 meta. I don't know that this does that either, but it does get rid of something that needed to be fixed and hopefully fixes some other glitches within that system. unintentionally. So what I'm talking about here is contains. Setting up these contain blitzes. Now when you set up a contain, your player is going to take a wider and slower attack angle to the quarterback. Hopefully that fixes the no angle to the quarterback where your blockers or where your rushers just like stare at the quarterback for a second or dumb out. Don't know what that's about. Hopefully when they retool this, that kind of clears that up as well. Do I still think, especially if the base stuff is going to be aligned wider, I can read it between the lines and say, unless they change the mechanics, the way some of that stuff works, you're still going to be able to send 7. You're just not going to be adding the contain to the blitz setups just willy-nilly like we really kind of have this year. I did say willy-nilly. That happened. Sorry. My bad. Never thought I'd say that shit. Anywho, player personnel packages. So on offense, now they're going to allow you to, say you're in spread, you could do a T slot package, so you have the tight ends in each slot. Then you could actually audible to any 2 tight end, 2 receiver sets. So it's just going to allow some creativity moving back and forth between sets. But again, don't do it more than twice, or you'll probably false start. So another thing they're going to add is additional fatigue for OPP ball carriers. So just spamming Lamar Jackson QB runs like Heavy Panther or Gun Taysom Hill was my favorite. That kind of stuff. They're going to try to slow some of that down. Wildcat stuff with like Tyreek Hill, they're going to try to slow that down. I mean, if you still wanted to run it at that point, you could just have 2 fast receivers and alternate. Or, in MUT, where if you have an unlimited budget, probably just get 2 fast quarterbacks. Abilities and things like that's where that might bite you. But a potential way around it, to a point. But I think it's probably a good thing that they add in. Your fumble risk was always there. They did add a fumble risk. They could have probably let that be. But apparently they didn't feel it was nuked quite enough, which again is going to balance inadvertently more towards the passing game. So they're going to try to balance abilities a bit, and one thing that we know, they're going to totally change the way receivers' abilities work. So, before it was post, flag, out, in, it was route specific. Now it's going to be area of the field specific. We'll see how much that changes gameplay. It's kind of a neither here nor there thing at this point. So the next thing they talked about was like pass lead abilities, and like that they were controversial. I didn't know anyone cared because they were so flippin' useless, like completely stupid. So now they're saying the pass lead abilities are going to affect velocity. So is that the new Gunslinger? Then what does Gunslinger do? Is Gunslinger going to speed up the throwing motion, and this speeds up the velocity of the ball in air? Maybe they're breaking that stuff down. I mean, if you're going to add 50 new abilities, you might as well just take a bunch and split them in half in typical EA fashion and say you've added more content, right? Yeah, I'm starting to get a little negative because of this next one pisses me off. All right. The run game mechanics. There is no more precision modifier. No more stick work. No more skilled stick work. That stuff is just going to be based on the agility of your back as to how they'll cut, I guess. They just want us to hammer away on the stick. They've changed truck to Y. They're saying, oh, you're going to be able to put together button combos with the joystick. The right joystick, and then they're saying, hey, if you're in the beta, give us feedback, because this is stupid. This is bum assist if ever there was such a thing. So you just want people to just go ahead and spam around on the stick as opposed to actually use a skilled cut. That ticks me off a lot. So, but it is what it is. We'll see how it all works. We'll see how the running backs feel. Changing everything every year like that, some of the stuff you can just leave alone. You don't need to change stuff for the sake of changing it. So, some of the stuff, the major stuff that they're touting as some big change is crap. As I titled it, pass rush crap. So that's next. There's a bunch of swear words under it. I was not happy. So, you're going to individually be able to play on the down line and individually separate what type of pass moves you do. There'll be like a little blocked meter above the defensive lineman and below the offensive lineman. The offensive lineman, that meter goes up as he learns this player's pass rush moves. Now, as I had speculated, yep, you can now just go and switch those guys around into different positions, and the offensive lineman has to relearn, so you could just flip people back and forth. The more money you have to spend, the more pass rushers you could get in theory. You could just really rotate pass rushers in like crazy. And one of the things that they're doing to try to prevent this from being cheesy is the meter above the defensive lineman shows how many moves you can do on a play. Then they gain 1 move per play. Well, if I've got 5 guys I'm rotating in, can't I then just spam abilities? Or spam pass rush moves over and over again, which they're trying to prevent. If they're trying to prevent it, that means that it works better than it should. Just reading between the lines, they're going to have to tune this. This is going to be one of the next things that's glitched. And then they said, oh yeah, so some of you lurkers out there, you might want to play on the down line. And he says it all proud. Bro, I will cut you. No. Stop it. Stop it. I'll get a little water bottle and spray you. Stop it. It's bad, Clint. No. Why? Why do we have to make it a thing to play on the defensive line? First off, it's only good for bums. Second off, explain to me how that's fun. What's fun about sitting on the defense? What's fun about that? And what's it going to do to squads? When you have 3 guys on the down line spamming those things? I mean, get a good punter. I'm starting to think that unless they get things tuned a little bit differently, from what I'm hearing, Madden 20 could very much so be the year of the punter. It could be a very defensive game. So, we'll see. Hey, man, hope y'all found this entertaining. I'm still excited for Madden 20. You can see I got a little more pissed as I go along. And what makes me mad is it's the features that they're building up are the ones that are pissing me off. But obviously we covered a lot of things in here that are excellent changes to the game. So we'll see how it goes. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get ready for Madden 21. Dem boys. Oh, and to do that, go over to Facebook and hit that join Madden Genius. That's the group. It's slow right now. That's by design. It's the end of the year. It's people helping people answering questions. That is going to be a phenomenal resource for Madden 21. So, dem boys. Peace.